What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Laughing Man Network's Fantasycast. It's week 7. We're here to talk sits and starts. I'm your host, Rodney, coming to you from the back corner of a garage down in Texas. And coming to us from a man cave in Georgia, we have Gator J from the Fantasy Intervention and the GoingFor2 YouTube channels. What's up, Gator? Welcome back to the show.
Man, I appreciate you letting me get back in here. We had a great night the other night when we got on here. We got some fun with some start sits tonight. We had some fun the other night. Hopefully we'll have just as much fun tonight.
And we didn't get a chance, I said you were from GoingFor2 and the Fantasy Intervention. I didn't get a chance last week for you to close out and let everybody know where to find you and what y'all got going on, if there's anything you want to say about that.
Nah, yeah, man. You kind of just shoved me out the door like a whore. Just push me right on out. Get out of here.
Late night toddler issues, some timing issues, but we got through the first half.
We had a good time. Now you can find me over there on Twitter at FantasyJ. Spell it out, JAY77. Find me at the GoingFor2 network, GoingFor2.com. Get on there and write a little bit. Don't do a ton of writing, but I do a little bit. Discord, you can find me over there. It's free. Fantasy Intervention on Wednesday nights. We do that at 8 o'clock. And you can hit me up on Discord at the Dynasty Rewind, which is where you and I met, right. Rodney.
Yep. That's pretty much where I've spent a lot of my time looking for Dynasty answers and all that. So it's a good little community we hang out in.
Yeah, and we're still looking for Dynasty answers. They're still looking for Dynasty answers, but we do have a good community over there.
We help each other. They ask us stuff. Hell,
I mean, we do have a Rewind CEO who, he thinks he's special and that sort of thing. And please forward this to him. He thinks he's special.
This week, this episode, we're going to be getting into sits and starts for the week 7 weekend. At the time of this recording, we've been through the Thursday night game. We had a few players you might have played in there. Olave had a decent game. Alvin Kamara had a decent game. Andy Dalton had a good game. Kyler Murray had a man game. But DeAndre Hopkins, the buy low of Gator J, went off. He came back and he was Kyler Murray's favorite target right off the bat. Didn't miss a step. So if you can still buy DeAndre Hopkins, go out there and get him, because it's
too late.
It's too late, but you got to figure it may still be the lowest you'll absolutely be able to get him. So if you get somebody who didn't watch the game,
so they don't look at stats.
But he's back. I've been saying it for weeks too. Buy him since about week 3. So hopefully people did. So starting off the show, we're going to go ahead and get into the sits of the week. First off, I am looking at the Steelers quarterbacks, all of them. I don't care who starts. Do not put one of these guys in your super flex. Find a wide receiver, find a running back, tight end premium, play a tight end. I'm willing to just go ahead and sit both of them until we see one consistently and we see what they can do with that in that offense.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, unless you hear that Kenny Pickett's starting, you really can't. You cannot trust Mitch Trubisky. He's not done anything this year, at least in my opinion, that to prove that he is a starting quarterback in the NFL. Even with the buys that we have this week, and we have four teams, 3 probably top 15 quarterbacks, maybe 4 top 20 quarterbacks. So it's going to be hard to be able to start a Pittsburgh quarterback, and I'm probably going to have to start.
I mean, if it's the only quarterback, but if you're in Superflex, go ahead and find another position to put in there. The floor over there it's low.
Yeah, agreed. Do I have to stay on quarterback? Can I move on?
If you don't have any,
Because I
if you don't
really want
have
to
any
move
that
on.
stand out, when you're getting
Not
into the
that
bye
I mean,
weeks, you're getting
you
into the
don't know
gritty
what's gonna.
anyway. So
Yeah, you don't know what's going on in New England. You don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. You don't know what's going on in some of these other little. I mean, I think later on we'll talk about it, but I think you might have to start Tua. Not knowing what's going on with some of these
he's my
others,
only
and then
QB in one, and I have
with
to
the
start him. So hopefully he's been cleared. He's been pre-practice fully.
yeah.
So,
But no, it's been stated
right,
he's going to be the starter. So, as much as you want to hold back and see what's going to happen, I mean, probably more than likely, if you have Tua, he's going to have to start because I mean, Josh Allen's out. You've got
yeah,
Stafford's out.
especially in
You got
Superflex. Yeah,
Cousins is going to be out.
you
Yeah,
gotta play him.
so you're probably going to have to start him. So I'm moving on from quarterback because I don't want to talk about that horrible quarterback situation. Because once you get past the top
Right.
15, it's
There's
brutal. It may be even top 12. It may be
there's one
brutal.
that was a buy low for me a few weeks ago. Zach Wilson, he's come back. He hasn't looked great. They have a lot of offensive weapons though. Brees Hall's getting going. They have all those wide receivers. I think they eventually figure it out, but he's in, like we said, with all these bye weeks, super flex. He may be a consideration for a lot of teams out there. I think this week he's projected to score 14 and a half points against Denver. We've seen what Denver has done to quarterbacks over the past 5-6 weeks. Don't play Zach Wilson. Same thing with the Steelers quarterbacks. Find a wide receiver, find a running back, play somebody else in your super flex. Most people force a quarterback in there. If you have Zach Wilson, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. Even though, again, God, why do you keep punching me in the gut here? I mean, I'm gonna have to play him in
I have
some
him in
leagues.
one where I lost Trey
Jeez,
Lance, and I'm struggling at quarterback.
do you have to play him?
No. He
So
would be
you're
my
gonna have to
super
play him in
flex,
that
but
league.
I'm playing. I forgot who else, but I'm playing somebody
No.
else.
Well, I mean, golly, you just gut punched me for the second time. And I mean, how long have we been recording?
Right.
It's not been very long. It's like I took a right and a left, but I'm still standing. I'm still here. All right, so okay. Man, you gut punched me. Zach Wilson can't play him. All right, well, CMC, you can't play him this week
Nope.
either.
And that sounds like
Now,
that's your first running back.
just got traded. That is going to be my first running back. I want him to play. And if he does play, it's probably going to be 10, 15 snaps. But it's probably going to be all goal line. And you are praying for a touchdown. Because he's probably not going to get you much more. So I don't think you can play him this week. You've got to have a better option. Hopefully you have a better option, even if it's a flex position. Hopefully you have a better option in playing CMC in a new lineup. Next week, it'll be a whole new scenario because in week 8 they are off, and then in week 9, it's probably a full go.
I think they throw in a few plays depending on game script. They throw in a few of those basic standard calls. He's not going to have time to look at the Shanahan playbook in a couple days. So they're gonna run a couple quick flares, try to get timing down with Garoppolo just to get us some game time feel for his speed and his ability on the field. But they're not going to be able to trust him to run block or pass block or any of that right now. So yeah, don't play CMC. Even though he was your RB1, you gotta ride this out for the next 2 weeks.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he's RB4 on the season, and you're gonna have to sit him this week and next week, to be quite honest. With the bye week being next week. So, but it's gonna give him 2 full weeks of getting to know the Shanahan offense, getting to know Jimmy Garoppolo, getting that timing down. So, yeah, you're losing CMC for 2 weeks, but you're getting him in time for the playoffs, and it's going to be a decent playoff run.
It's gonna be great.
For
and it
the
could be
Niners,
worse.
so.
You could be an Elijah Mitchell owner.
Well, I mean, we'll see what the Elijah Mitchell's owners feel like in the offseason, I
Boy.
guess, when it comes to for fantasy anyway. Because I think now he is now a true
Yep,
backup
fifth round pick,
because CMC's under
fifth round
contract
pick,
for a
no
couple years,
financial
so
commitment.
he might be cut. Or not cut, but released. They're probably not going to re-sign him now having CMC.
He may ride out his contract, but he's backup. That's it.
Yep. Night, Mitchell's owners.
Rest in peace. Sit number 1, we're going to be J.K. Dobbins versus Cleveland. This past week, he played 27% of the snaps. His knee tightened up. He's might play this week. It's kind of up in the air. But even if he does play, they fed Kenyon Drake last week. And like we said, you feed any running back like that, he's going to do something. So I expect Kenyon Drake to get more touches again, them not to hurt Dobbins, ease him back in, maybe give him a couple plays to see how it feels. But we also have Gus Edwards coming back potentially this week. So that's going to be another option for Baltimore where they're not going to have to force feed Dobbins. Cleveland has one of the worst run defenses in the league, but I don't think we're going to be able to play Dobbins this week against them.
Yeah, I don't know if Gus Edwards is going to be back or not this week. But if he is, I think it actually helps Dobbins because it gives him a little bit of
long term.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It gives him a chance to absolutely 100%. He will be able to not have to carry the load. And that's probably good for both, NFL value and fantasy value, to be quite honest, in my opinion. I don't know. Right. We'll see. As far as a sit, Cam Akers. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
Hey, the Rams agree with you. The Rams agree. Sit Cam Akers.
Oh, my goodness. How horrible of a situation is that? Again, this is all league dependent, as we've said. What's horrible is that we could not sit there and go, prior to tonight's game, don't play, Connor, because, well, that was the obvious. And then we couldn't say, oh, wait, neither one of the running backs on either team were valid tonight. So skip all of that. I don't think there's very many running backs that are going to be horrible this week. Or, horribly, you have to sit them.
I think I'm definitely sitting is James Robinson against New York. He's playing the Giants. The past 3 games, he's got 1.5 points, 5.5 points, 6.5 points. He's getting 44% of the snaps at the moment. And this week, he's only projected to score 9.5. I don't think the upside's there right now. They're working ETN like a lot. The Giants have a good defense.
Do you consider him a starter though?
Going into the season with the way it was working, I think he was a flex every week, especially the way he started off with those first 3 weeks. So, looking at the starts and sits right now, that's what, when we're looking at the flexes in the third wide receiver position or, whatever it is, your super flex for some of these quarterbacks we said you shouldn't play. I don't think J. Rob's going to be the answer. I don't think he has the upside for you to fit into that super flex for you, say.
Yeah, see, and I guess I look at it a little bit different, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying start J. Rob, but I'm looking at when I'm looking at start sits, I'm looking at, okay, do I consider them a starter? Would I put them in my starting lineup to start with? And, and then try to compare them to somebody. And then I'm like, so like J-Rob, I wouldn't even put J-Rob in my starting lineup just because of the usage. It's consistently gone down as Travis Etienne's has gone consistently up. So I don't even look at him as even a possible thought process of a start sit, just for the simple fact that he's got Etienne right in front of him. You know what I mean? Because if I have to start somebody from that lineup, from the Jags, I'm
Yeah, and
starting
J Rob for
ETN,
the first several weeks
right?
of the season when he was doing all that, he was a sell high for me. I told everybody,
Oh, absolutely. And if you didn't sell him in the first 3 weeks,
yeah,
you
and now
probably
we're seeing
lost
it.
out by now.
He's turned into the game script running back when they're in passing situations. It's ETN in there, so it's not like it
Hmm.
was before where it was just
And
J
I think,
Rob. So if they were down, they still had to pass it to J Rob. That's not a thing anymore. So James Robinson,
yeah, and I think they've moved to that point of now ETN's also starting to get some
right?
first and second down work, and it's
Yeah,
not
and they
just the
were
passing
splitting
down
it.
work. So J
They've
Rob's
pretty
not
much been
getting
splitting it
work.
evenly, fairly evenly, give or take 10% the entire season. But just all of a sudden, ETN's touches have been just far more valuable.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the last 3 weeks or so, it went from like almost a 50-50 to like
Right.
65-45, kind of, or 65-35, and it's gradually gone up. I think last week it was almost 70-30 last week alone. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd almost have to sit him unless with the
Right.
bye weeks you can put him
Yeah,
into a
unless you're super
flex, I
shallow
guess,
at
but
running back, you got some guys out.
you're not starting him. You're not starting him in your top,
Right.
in your running
Yeah.
back position at all. Not even
Yeah. And I
not
wouldn't
even
even
an
try to
RB
flex
two.
him. He's a trade throw in at this point. We can move on to wide receivers now. My top sit wide receiver, and again, we're talking about guys you're trying to fill in your third wide receiver slot, your flex positions. Robert Woods, he's the top wide receiver in Tennessee. We lost Traylon Burks for a while. They're playing against Indiana. He's projected to score 11 points, but the highest he's gotten this season, he's got one game where he scored 13 points. I'm not interested in Robert Woods. I think it's over. He's going to see top coverage from a good pass defense. And, if you still have him on your roster, you haven't gotten rid of him at this point, I wouldn't bother flexing him this week. Don't put him in the super flex over Zach Wilson. Don't make that the option.
Yeah, and that's sad to say because I mean Robert Woods, with him being the only wide receiver option. I mean, with Traylon Burks being injured, that sort of thing. Tennessee has truly made that a running
Yes, there's
offense,
nothing in the passing game.
and they have fed Derrick Henry. They have fed Derrick Henry and fed Derrick Henry and fed him and fed him and fed. They're going to run
Yeah, their
that
wide
man into
receiver
the
one is
ground.
basically Dontrell Hilliard.
They got a
Yeah,
wide
really.
receiver one. I mean, I'm asking
Yep.
because a friend needs to know. But yeah, that is 100% a rushing offense. Um, that is the epitome of a rushing
Yep.
offense, I
It
guess,
really is.
is what I mean to say. Because Robert Woods he's been healthy, and they're not
Nope.
feeding
And
him
then
the
when
ball. Of course, they have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, so it's not like they can, it's not like they got Marcus
no,
Mariota
but he's
at
he's
quarterback.
been decent.
Oh,
It
they had
just
that at one time.
they even lost Traylon Burks, and everybody thought, oh well, maybe all of a sudden Woods is usable. And man, I don't see it. It's not trustworthy.
And I'm starting to wonder if Traylon Works is as good as everybody wants him to be.
Right. I have questions, but I'm holding out. I'm going to wait to see it. I didn't expect till second half of the year anyway. So the turf toe pushes that back, but I'm still waiting to see it. I thought the same thing on Amon Ross St. Brown, and dude's good. So,
Yeah.
Michael Pittman. I had the same
I mean, I
same
I, I hope the kid's
same
good.
thing about
I hope
Michael
he is.
Pittman. I didn't think he could do it, and he has some trouble with separation. But Mike Evans hasn't been the best with separation either. He's just big and strong. He goes up and gets the ball. He makes the tough catches. So those kind of guys can turn out pretty good. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see. Jury's out on Traylon Burks for me still.
Yep, I agree. I agree. I like Traylon Burks. Don't take it the
Right.
wrong way. I just wonder about him with his asthma, with his injuries, with that sort of thing. We've seen injuries plagued some
Right.
players in the past.
As far as the asthma,
so hopefully,
I've said on buy low early in the season for my first few episodes. I said go buy Treylon Burks for production in the back half of the season, because I think with the asthma thing, if he needs to come off, step off, and take a breather, hit the inhaler, pop back in, catch a touchdown, shit, that's 7-8 points. I'm fine with it. So if he wants, if
I don't care that
if he
you
wants
can't
to play
breathe, just catch
30%
the
of the
damn ball,
snaps,
kid.
I mean, if he's catching 2 touchdowns in that 30%, I'm fine with it, dude. Just have a seat.
That's right.
I don't
care how
bro.
much you play, as
It's
long as you
football.
point me
I
up.
mean, each play in football seconds long. I'm not worried about the asthma.
That's right.
Yeah, if they got to sit him, they got to sit him.
My sit this week, and this is probably going to be a little controversial because he asked for a trade today. I'm going to sit Elijah Moore.
He did ask for a trade, huh? I did not see that.
Yeah, he asked the Jets for a trade today. I'm going to sit him. Here's why. 0 targets last week. I'm not saying Zach Wilson doesn't like the guy, but it just seems like they're phasing him out of the.
They were BFFs second half of last
when he
year.
got injured
in preseason.
Yeah, when he got he was he was injured most of the end of last year. But if you look at his numbers last year, I think his highest point total as a wide receiver was like 8.8. For the first whatever it was. Now, don't get me wrong, he was a rookie last year, so it's not horrible. But then he walks into this year and presumably going to be the number one. You got Garrett Wilson there as well. Then Zach Wilson gets hurt, and then all of a sudden, Joe Flacco comes in there and starts slinging the ball like he was like 12 again. I don't know where the hell this Joe Flacco came from, because he couldn't do it 5 years ago, but he did it this year for the first 4 games
top
or whatever
QB.
it was. Just slinging the ball. I'm in a contract year, so I'm going to sling the ball all over the yard. And Elijah Mitchell was part of the offense then. And then, he's dropped all the way down. So with him asking for the trade, I don't know that he wants to be there. And when people don't want to be there, you don't want to play him on your team. And that's kind of where I'm at with Elijah Mitchell.
I mean, Elijah Moore.
Love the talent.
Yeah. I mix him up all the time, too.
Well, Elijah Mitchell, you don't want to play him either this week.
But, yeah, I'm with you on Elijah Moore. Personally, in fantasy land, he would be a nice trade right now for probably the Panthers.
Super buy low.
He would be a good target for the Panthers, because even if the Panthers aren't competing this year, he's young still, and he's a good wide receiver.
DJ Moore.
No, just straight up. You want DJ Moore and Elijah Moore on your team.
No. I'm saying for the Panthers to the Jets, DJ Moore for Elijah Moore.
I think.
Okay.
Personally, I think DJ Moore is special. I think it's very situational over there. He's one of the top wide receivers and uncatchable targets. So it's not about the talent.
No, it's not about the quarterback.
I don't know what's going on over there, bro. It's all falling apart now, but they're rebuilding. No telling. They could trade DJ Moore.
Hey, they'll have 64 first-round picks in 2023. They keep going. Well, no, 64 second-round picks. They ain't getting a first round for anybody. How insane is that? CMC for a second, a third, and a fourth, and a fifth.
Big trade.
Does that even sound right? I'm sorry. There's no first in that. I don't get it. How do you not get a first out of that? How do you not get a first for CMC?
That's like saying you have a 27-year-old running back and you're going to hand somebody a Breece Hall for him. So NFL, there's so many positions.
Okay,
it pushes the talent back. So a second is nice.
Let me All right, let me ask it this way, because we are fantasy dynasty guys. I'm going to trade you my first round pick for CMC. And I'm assuming that first round pick, because I'm trading for CMC, is going to be 1.30 or worse. You're not getting Bijan Robinson at 1.30. I guess you could because of the way the shit works out, but I'm getting CMC here. I'm giving you CMC. Give me that first round pick, period, the end.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
There's always more to it. Probably financials and shit. But
dude, San Francisco's going to pay him $800,000 this year. Is what
Carolina's committed to
it's ridiculous.
His contract money.
Well, I mean, for the next, I think it's 3 years. I think it's 22, 23, 24, and 25. The contract money is $12 million for CMC, but the rest of this year is 800,000.
Right.
I mean, you could see CMC move again next year.
Very possible.
Or in the off season. But San Francisco's going for the ring, so they're going to get that. They're going to try and get the ring this year, and if they get the ring this year, it's very, very, very possible you could see CMC in a red, white, and blue uniform next year, upstate New York.
Until then, you're going to have Debo and CMC coming out of the backfield for the next 13 weeks.
That's the other. No. Ironically, the numbers almost equal out. The numbers that in Debo's contract that he would get paid for rushing attempts is almost what they're going to pay CMC. So Debo probably won't be rushing the ball very much. They'll just pay that money to an actual running back.
Yeah.
And not pay it to a wide receiver.
Right.
That's ironic that it works out that way, that you would actually pay a running back numbers and a wide receiver number. It's crazy the way that shit works out, but it's
sell high on
true. Brandon
Ayuk and George Kittle.
No, don't do that. Oh yeah, sell. As the
because they just brought because they just brought in another wide receiver
and running back.
Right, 2 players.
Man, I so bad want to sit Deontay Johnson. So bad. I don't trust the Pittsburgh. You were talking about the Pittsburgh quarterbacks earlier. I don't trust what's going on in Deontay Johnson. I mean, the last 3 games, 12 catches over 24 targets. He's got 100 yards. 0 touchdowns on the year. I just don't know how you trust him to do anything.
He's basically Jacoby Myers.
And if Pickett
from last year.
Well, and if Pickett's playing, Pickett has already shown you in the 2 games that he's played, his preferred target is Pickens. So I mean, I know they paid him. I know they like him in Pittsburgh, but man, as a fantasy manager, you just can't trust him. I think you have to see.
And I got a lot of Deontay all over, and he's on the fringe for me everywhere. The only reason I can keep him in is because of his target share is kind of has a nice floor, but his ceiling is just not there this year.
Yeah.
Everything going to him is quick and short. They're not getting open. They're not getting in an open space because their offensive line can't buy their quarterback's time. So he's never able to find the hole that's got space. So all his receptions are forced. He's having to work for the catch. If you don't have to play him, if you have somebody with more upside, go ahead and put him in.
It almost seems like we're picking on Pittsburgh here because you have the quarterback.
Just stay away from the offense.
I just picked a wide receiver, but But at the same time, I think you almost have to sit Najee
This week I have to
Harris.
play him. Last week I sat Najee. He was actually a sit for me, and I played Singletary, and it did all
That worked
right.
out for you.
There was like a 1 point difference, so it really didn't matter. Najee actually stumbled into the end zone, so
Oh yeah,
he got like 13
against
points.
the Bucks.
But yeah,
Bastard.
he has no upside at the moment. Get into another wide receiver. We were talking about it earlier. I said we'd get into him. Sit, big name. If he plays this week, Keenan Allen versus Seattle. He's projected to score 14 points. He's been a sit for me each week because he's been a questionable and may play each week for the past 3 weeks. And he's always a little extra that I put in at the end to sit Keenan Allen because historically Keenan Allen comes back from these injuries and he plays like Mike Evans does this. He'll come in, he'll play 3 snaps, not like it, and then you won't see him the rest of the game. Don't risk it because that's a big donut on your roster. If you've been getting through the past several weeks without Keenan Allen already, put one of those guys back in and avoid Keenan Allen this weekend until you get a full game out of him.
No, I don't disagree with you there. I ain't heard whether he was going to play this week or
questionable
not.
Again.
Hopefully,
Limited.
Yeah, he's still questionable. Man, I don't know what's going on with Keenan Allen. I don't know what's going on with that San Diego offense.
It's Keenan Allen that's missing.
It's you think so? Because I think it's a roller coaster. I mean, you still got Eckler, you still got Mike Williams.
Well, when you take Keenan Allen out, they don't really have like another slot type guy. So if you have Keenan Allen out there, that just opens up those little passing dump offs and shit for Eckler, which is their whole offense. So right now, the short game, all eyes are on Eckler. So I think once Allen's back, I think that just opens up everything. Because Allen isn't one of those slot guys that just crosses over the middle, crosses out. Like Allen will go deep on you. So
yeah, he runs them sevens. Yeah, he runs a 7 route very
anywhere
well
on the field from that position, like Cooper Kupp. So he opens up a lot.
Well, hopefully he gets back on the field, and whether he's getting targeted or not, it helps the rest of that San Diego offense, because that San Diego offense has looked not very good. It has not looked good in the last few weeks, and I don't know that he's the missing piece. And if he's the missing piece, then they got work to do. I'm ready to move on to tight end. I got some great tight ends.
I'll start off my first tight end sit, or really my only tight end sit, and we talked about him as a buy low yesterday. I had to stop you because you were done talking about Cowboys, but I'm going with Dalton Schultz. Dak looks like Dak may actually play this week, but I'm not ready to test that connection. Wait on Schultz. He's dealing with a knee issue himself. Let's let Dak get in the game flow. Let's let Dak get a week to see game speed and get a handle on the ball. So if you have Schultz, wait a week. I know it's Detroit. I know it's a juicy matchup, but wait on Schultz.
Yeah, and as much as I want to disagree with you, and I truly, truly, truly want to disagree with you, I cannot. With Dak just coming back, I mean, Schultz has practiced for the first time yesterday or today in full.
Yep.
In like 3 weeks. With Dak being out, Schultz just now coming back. I cannot disagree with you on sitting Schultz. God, I hate you because I want to disagree with you on that. Cowboys. And I'm probably going to hate myself because I'm not going to disagree with you on it. I know, but I'm probably going to hate myself because this is probably going to be my opportunity to go, I told you so, and I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm going to agree.
Yep. I'm not risking it. I'm going to wait. Better days ahead.
Two
Right.
Sundays from today. Man, tight end is such a
It's
horrific
hard because if
position,
they score points, you kind of have to start them. You just gotta at this point, especially
right?
with bye weeks and
It's
Darren Waller's hurt.
all right. So Darren Waller hasn't, you know, he didn't play, didn't play, didn't practice, whatever for the last month and a half. I don't even know what's going on with Darren
Yeah,
Waller.
he's got a hamstring.
Um, but he hasn't practiced. He hasn't practiced at all. They if it was a hamstring 2 weeks ago, he should have been put either on IR or
Keenan Allen.
whatever.
Keenan Allen, it's
In
been the
my opinion,
hamstring, and he's been out three and a half,
yeah, but
4 weeks
out
now.
for 4 weeks,
Right?
right? Okay, they could have put him on IR, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, he's got a hamstring, but he had the hamstring like the second play 2 weeks ago, right? Then they had the bye week, and then the message comes out today, or the alert comes out today that still not practicing. So you can't start him. I mean, I know it's Thursday. We got 2 more days before they play, or 3 more days before they play. Man, if you're not practicing on Thursday, it's almost a guarantee you're not going to play on Sunday.
Or you're just going to be a decoy.
You know, or or you're going to be a decoy. And I've got Waller in so many leagues. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And I've had to go out and get Will Disley. I almost traded, and I probably should have now after looking at the numbers because he ran a touchdown and whatever. I probably should have traded for Taysom Hill.
Right.
Much as I hate that idea.
Right.
So I guess my sit this week is definitely going to have to be Waller because you don't know what's going to happen, and if he does play, we don't know what kind of play you're going to get out of him. You know, and they're not playing a horrible defense in Houston. You know, but man, that's a tough one there. So I think I'm gonna have to sit him.
Yeah, same. I agree with you there. Even if he plays, just don't risk it. So we know who we're sitting. Who are we going to place in these positions? Who are we starting? Super flex guys at quarterback that I'm looking at. The fan favorite of yours from last week. He should be started anyway. But Geno Smith. Geno Smith was not one of your top 2 quarterbacks coming into the season. Let's face it, you picked him up off of waivers at some point. So you can consider him a super flex option. Hopefully he's not your number 1 quarterback, but he's been playing like a number 1 quarterback. He's playing the Chargers, who you kind of have to keep up with. They have a good offense. They're starting to get their groove a little bit, even though, it depends on Keenan Allen getting there. So if Keenan Allen plays, that's going to open up a little bit for everybody else. You had Mike Williams had his bad week last week. Mike Williams usually follows up a bad week with a good week. So I expect some points to be scored there. But Geno, like we said, is hyper efficient. I think he's going to have to keep up with the Chargers a little bit and expect a bounce back week for him. I think he only scored like 13 points last week. So I think he's going to turn around and get back up into the 20s for us this week.
Yeah, I think Geno is he's QB 8-9 on the year, if not less than. I mean, he may be better than that. You know what I mean? So that's a great call. You if you have Geno Smith, no matter how you got him, I don't care if you drafted him, you picked him up on waivers, you traded. I don't care how you got him. You're playing that dude. Whether you're playing him as QB1 or in your Superflex, you have to play that guy. Look, we all preseason was like, okay, there's no reason to have Tyler Lockett on your squad. You go ahead and get rid of DK Metcalf. You know, they got no running game. They've got no quarterback. So what are we doing with the Seattle offense? And then all of a sudden, Geno's, well, y'all mailed all these letters to me. I just didn't write back, and I'm still here.
Yep.
You know, so Absolutely, 100%. Great call on that. Great call on that. I love Geno Smith for that. Superflex quarterback must start. Oh my goodness.
Digging deep.
'Cause-
There's only a few of them to pick from
yeah,
because of the bye weeks.
yeah, and that's in the injury. So Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke, if you have him, if you picked him up on waivers, if you picked him up, through a trade, because ironically, 20 some odd leagues that I'm in, he was only available on like 3 or 4 leagues that I was in. It's just
I started picking him
Taylor
up a couple
Heineke,
weeks, like 2
really.
weeks ago, I think.
He's going to. I mean, the dude threw for 3,000 yards last year. 20 touchdowns for over 11 or 12 interceptions. So, man, in a superflex position, Taylor Heineke. And I don't even know that you need to have very much explanation because the quarterbacks that are left on the board are not that good. With the quarterbacks that are out for either injury or for bye week, any starter will
Right.
do
You
at
need
this point.
somebody there. But if you're getting down to the nitty gritty
Yeah,
and you
I
have
mean,
Heineke
I'm
and
going
Zach
in.
Wilson, going Heineke.
Are you watching my lineups?
in that situation, who you going? You going Heineke?
Heineke or
You going
Zach?
Zach
No, I'm
Wilson?
taking Zach Wilson. He's got better
I
weapons, I think.
I actually
Yeah, I
think
think he's got better
personally, I
weapons.
think I would go Heineke. I think you look at what Heineke's done the past 2 years when he has started. He's been like I compare him to like Garner Minshew a few years ago. He was a startable QB2,
No, I'm not
and he's got a better offense than he had.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but I think you also got to look at the weapons that are around him. When you got a Brees Hall, a
Oh
Michael
yeah,
Carter,
oh yeah.
a Garrett Wilson, you know, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the
For
weapons that
for
are
that
around
game
them.
though, I'm looking at the matchup
So
also. Zach Wilson's playing against Denver.
Denver's been damn good against
Right.
opposing
So Zach
quarterbacks.
Wilson, that's why he was a sit for me. So yeah, in this situation, I'll go Heineke.
No, I'm still going Zach Wilson.
You definitely get the upside there. You definitely.
I'm taking the upside on with the multiple weapons
Right.
and a Brees Hall. You can have your
Yeah.
Taylor.
I'm willing to take the risk if I'm in the
Of him.
trenches. Another quarterback, just real quick. You mentioned him before the show. We were talking about your situation on who you need to start at quarterback. You were looking at Matt Ryan versus Tennessee. I think he's a start for me this week. He's projected to score 17 and a half in 6.6 point touchdown leagues. This past week, he had 58 passes, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That's an
It was
overtime game,
overtime.
though.
It was.
Slow down. They will hang on. Time the fuck out. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to piss on your Wheaties or rain on your parade. By no means. But you cannot tell me in any which way that Frank Reich or Jim Irsay wants
Oh
Matt
no,
Ryan throwing
that won't
58
happen again.
goddamn footballs down the field
No,
in 2 games,
no,
let alone 1.
that won't
That
happen
ain't
again.
not happening
But
again.
once again, we're talking Superflex, and Matt Ryan's going to be in that category, or at least he's been in that category this season of whether or not I should play him. But against Tennessee, they're bottom 10 in pass defense. They got JT coming back. Alec Pierce is getting going. They've got Michael Pittman. They're working multiple tight ends still. I just think he can come in 250, 2 touchdowns, and I'd love that in my Superflex.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you got JT coming back, and they're probably going to put him on a pitch count. I mean, they ain't let him play in like 4 weeks. I don't know how long.
Defenses are going to have to move up
but
for him.
They're
still going to have to move up.
Naheem Hines is supposed to be playable. You also have Jackson, which he showed out last week. Showed out. Maybe JT's tradable. Maybe we see CMC get traded today. We see JT get traded tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just saying. They've got a lot of running backs back there. They don't want Matt Ryan throwing 58 balls.
Yeah, that's not going to be a constant thing.
You know, so
it's just. I think he's going to be more efficient.
I don't think that.
Is what it is.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he can be any worse efficient than what he was last week throwing 58 balls. There's an avenue for him not to throw as much with the running backs that they have and be more efficient. I just don't know that there's an avenue for him to be more productive.
No, he's not going to hit that again. But no, he's fantasy. Turn around and play him again. Don't be afraid to play him again. All right, guys, we're going to have a quick transition here due to some late night toddler issues with myself. We weren't able to complete our conversations on our starts for the Week 7 NFL season. So sorry for this little transition moment. We're going to keep going, and I'm going to give you all of my starts for this week. So we wrapped up with Gator talking about Matt Ryan versus Tennessee. Like I said, I think he's going to continue to have a much more efficient time in Indianapolis now that they've established a second wide receiver. So go ahead and play Matt Ryan in your super flex. I'm completely okay with that this week. I don't think there's any question that he can get you the production you're looking for. Moving on to running backs. My starts of the week, I'm going straight to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm starting both Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. They're playing against Detroit. Detroit's got one of the worst rush defenses in the league. A couple weeks ago, I said go ahead and play New England, play both the running backs, Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. If it wasn't for Damian Harris hurting his hamstring, I think both of those guys were looking at having huge days. So go ahead and play both Pollard and Zeke. They're both getting 12 to 15 touches a game. Zeke's projected to score 15. I think he hits that. Pollard's projected to score 11. I think that's conservative. I think he can beat that as well. Next up, we have Travis Etienne. He's playing against the Giants. We said earlier, sit James Robinson. Don't play him in your flex. Etienne's getting more work. The Giants have a decent defense, and I think this is going to be one of those games where they're going to have to struggle to move the ball. So look for Etienne to get some PPR value this week, maybe 5 up to 6 targets perhaps. So go ahead and play him. He's projected to score 10 points. He's getting around 50% of the touches, and that's fine for a split backfield for me, especially when you're the one getting the PPR work. Jeff Wilson is a start this week against Kansas City for me. The San Francisco 49ers just traded for Christian McCaffrey, but I don't think he's going to be ready. I don't think they're going to give him a lot of that Shanahan playbook week 1. He's only going to have 1 or 2 days to look at it. So I think Jeff Wilson, this is going to be the last week you're going to be able to start Jeff Wilson. So go ahead and play him. He's projected to score 9.5 points. He only scored a half a point in week 6. Kansas City, they can be run on a little bit. So go ahead and play Jeff Wilson this week. Wide receiver, I'm looking at Hunter Renfrow versus Houston. Darren Waller might not play. He might just be out there as a decoy. Hunter Renfrow without Waller the past couple of years has been money. So go ahead and play Renfrow. He's projected to score 11.5 points. He's getting 55% of the snaps in his first game back. So I think that's going to go up, especially if Waller's not over the middle. And Devontae Adams is going to continue to play, so all the top coverage is going to stick on Devontae Adams. So go ahead and play Renfrow, especially in a PPR league. Alec Pierce versus Tennessee. I said you can go ahead and play Matt Ryan. I think Alec Pierce you can pair him with him and stack him. He's projected to score 10 points. He looks like he's the new favorite target over there. Pittman's going to have his big weeks, but now defenses are going to have to respect more than one receiver. Paris Campbell is even stepping up a little bit, but Alec Pierce looks like he's going to be the guy to take over that second option on the target tree over there in Indianapolis. He's up to 65% of the snap share, and he's averaging 7 targets the past 4 weeks. Go ahead and play Alec Pierce. I think you have PPR floor, and you have touchdown upside. So go ahead and play him this week against Tennessee. Tyler Boyd. I'm willing to go play Tyler Boyd against Atlanta. Atlanta actually has a decent defense. Offenses need to come up with ways to move the ball against them. It's no longer just pound the ball and go deep. So I think Tyler Boyd's going to get some work. He's got projection of 11. He's averaged close to 90% of the snaps each week. In this past week, he had 6 targets, 6 receptions, 66 yards in week 6. I'm taking that as an omen. I'm going ahead and playing Boyd this week in one of my flex spots, and I think it's going to work out. Moving on to tight end. Tight end, I'm looking at a guy who has been out for a week and a half. He had a concussion. Pat Freiermuth versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got a pretty good defense. There's a lot of questions at quarterback over there in Pittsburgh, but both quarterbacks seem to like the tight end. Freiermuth is one of those guys who can play almost all the snaps. He can block, he can catch, and I think he's going to be the QB's best friend. He's only projected to score 8 points. I think he can beat that easily this week. So go ahead and play Freiermuth versus Tampa Bay. Going deep, 12-team, and you're trying to fill in a bye for a top tight end or something. You're trying to fill in for Waller. Evan Ingram. I've said him for a few weeks that you could play him. I think this is another week you can play him. Giants have a pretty good defense. He's only projected to score 8 points. And I don't think this is going to be a game where they're going to be able to move the ball with the wide receivers very well. I think they're going to struggle to move the ball. I think they're going to look for ETN, Evan Ingram on those short, quick passes as the pass rush comes in on them. So go ahead and play Evan Ingram. I think it's also going to be a revenge game. Remember, he used to play for the New York Giants. But a lot of these players tend to play really well when they go back against their old team. So go ahead and play Evan Ingram. I think he's even possible to score a touchdown this week. So that's it, guys. That's going to cover our Week 7 sits and starts for the weekend. I want to thank Gator J for coming on the show again. Sorry for the difficulties. Sorry we couldn't get the rest of your conversations on these starts for the week. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys. Please go over there, go to the Fantasy Intervention, go for the GoingFor2 live channel, hit their like, hit their subscribe, and come on back here and get ready for waivers in Week 8. Good luck, guys. Good luck on the weekend. Hope you win some games. And let us know in the comments if you have any questions for any other sits and starts. Until next time, guys. See you.